What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about everything PC gaming related because Joel is not here tonight.
Freedom!
I'm one of your hosts, JERMgaming. I'm joined by Dave, and this is the 64-bit podcast, twice the memory of the previous podcasts. I don't have any more 64-bit jokes. The graphics are smoother.
DayZ servers have more tick rate. 64-bit is the...
Yes, that was definitely the worst way you possibly could have done that. I'm going to eat on this podcast, breaking all the rules of things you're allowed to do on the internet because I'm hungry. So Dave has important announcements to make now because I'm hungry now. So Dave, go ahead.
Yes. I, like a responsible adult, ate before the podcast. That's what remains of my spaghetti right there. That's my announcement.
Just was out hustling, you know? Just making that money.
What you were referring to, right?
Mm-hmm,
You know, the spaghetti announcement? Yes. In all seriousness, guys, we're talking a little bit about how you guys can support the podcast tonight. Easiest way is iTunes reviews. It actually helps us get up in the iTunes ratings, helps people find the podcast easier, and all that sort of jazz. And apparently they're region specific, so we need to get some some continent review wars going on.
Who wants to be a continent ambassador?
I'm pretty sure North America is way ahead, but Australia has, 2 or 3 reviews now?
Woo!
And I know you British listeners out there, you guys can get in there and get some reviews going, because I signed on to TeamSpeak, and you guys all have British accents. Let's just face it, okay? I know you guys
Most of them do. You guys are staying up till 6 a.m. for whatever dumb reason.
They're fanatical. It's beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and mute my phone, because somebody won't stop retweeting me. You guys are crazy.
And thank you for your support, but stop retweeting Dave right now.
It's like going to an important meeting. You always gotta remember to mute your phone. And the other thing was mentioning Patreon once again. If you guys missed our original Patreon podcast, it's a way that you guys can support the podcast monetarily, and you actually get rewards for it. Like, we have little perks that you guys get based on the level that you're supporting the podcast. And it's already helping us to get some new equipment. Like, Debbie has gotten an actual headset and headphone set. It's not just a microphone from Staples anymore, so that was exciting. No more.
Mark has a good mic now too.
Right, that's right. Mark has a good microphone, and we actually have a couple of long-term goals for Patreon. Right now, it's also helping to pay for our TeamSpeak server that you guys are hanging out in a lot,
which is working better now.
Yes, thank you, host. That was terrible before. We need to post that in the description too for this podcast. If you guys are listening and have not tried out our TeamSpeak yet, come by and hang out. It's good fun.
Good fun.
But long-term goal, we would love to actually have a DayZ community server going in, say, November or December. I think our goal for Patreon for that is 200 or 250, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. You guys can check it out at patreon.com/casual shenanigans. Is that the correct URL?
Yes.
Okay. So that is all of our promo jazz for tonight.
I was able to finish eating, so you stalled long enough.
That worked pretty well. Yeah, thank you guys for your support as always. Keep hanging out in TeamSpeak, and let's aim for that DayZ server because I want to steal all your vehicles.
Well, but let's it wouldn't kill us if we waited until it worked well, but it's fine.
I said December.
You think it's gonna work well then?
Tents will work by December.
Dave, don't. Just don't.
I believe.
That's nice. It doesn't change reality, but it's cute that you believe. Okay, so, Lakey Soldier, who just came in, you didn't really miss anything, just us selling ourselves while I finished my dinner, because we are the epitome of professionalism.
There was a lot of fork noises.
It is now time to start with the news.
Watch this. Watch this time code going in.
I can't watch it. I have other tabs up. I only have 3 monitors, Dave. I don't have enough. If you're uploading something in the background, by the way, you might want to stop. I don't know if you have anything else going on, but your Skype's taking a dive. So
it's just Skype doing its thing.
Microsoft, who cares about PC gamers like they keep telling people, or they say they do, it remains to be seen. That's a big hint towards what our main topic is tonight, but they have released a new gaming controller called the Xbox One Controller Plus Cable for Windows. That's the title. Xbox One Controller plus Cable for Windows.
What balding cubicle dweller named that?
And it's a wired Xbox
sad.
One controller, specifically designed for the PC platform. Supposedly, what it actually is a wireless Xbox One controller with a micro USB charging cable. So, in the promotional picture, the guy is using it, and it's plugged into a Surface tablet, which is plugged into a large monitor, and he's wearing an ugly green headset. So I guess he's gaming on a Surface tablet that's plugged into a huge monitor, so he's playing something stupid.
Thing?
Well, if you have the Surface Pro, you can run Windows apps. He could be playing a Steam game. You could probably play TF2. But yeah, so that's the first news item.
I think, what they really meant to say was that it's a controller that a lot of research went into, a lot of careful thought and design for the Xbox One. And then they briefly thought about adding the cable to it, and that's the thought for the PC, basically.
Yeah, and I like having a controller for the PC. It's nice to have one for some games that just work better with it. Like Watch Dogs was good with a controller. Most driving games I play with a controller. Dark Souls 2 I'm playing with a controller. But I don't see why I would sell an Xbox 360 controller to get the Xbox One. Like, the Xbox 360 one works fine. The only reason people buy Xbox One controllers is because you need them to play it with Xbox One. So, who knows?
I do prefer the analog sticks as well as the texture. Like, the texture for me made a big difference in London last year. That kind of like a little bit of rubberized texture like the Nexus 5 has. I love that little bit of rubber texture. That was fantastic. But it's not $60 fantastic. I still have Joel's broken 360 controller that I use for stuff. So, thanks, Joel. I think.
I'll never listen to this. Final Fantasy. I never really played the Final Fantasy games, but they're obviously a huge gaming franchise. And Final Fantasy 13 is confirmed for the PC and is releasing next month. This was not a popular one by any means. I mean, it sold lots of copies, but no one really liked Final Fantasy 13 as a suitable next Final Fantasy game. It was kind of like a letdown. It was very, very linear, apparently. In some parts, it wasn't really anything better than like an on-rails RPG action game. But it's coming to the PC, so if you like Final Fantasy, you might be interested in that. Speaking of old games coming there, this isn't really a news item, but there were rumors that the Metal Gear Solid collection, all the Metal Gear Solid games were coming to the PC, because it was called like the Metal Gear Solid Collection, I think was the name. And yeah, it turns out that's a fashion line and not actually the games. So the games are not coming to the PC as far as we know.
Well, that was unexpected.
Yeah, it's
James says call him in.
Hey, James, you there?
What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good.
Creepy
Hey,
lighting
James.
there, buddy.
Let me mute the stream because that might confuse me.
It will. So, Doom Z. You guys hear about Doom Z?
I did. It looks awesome.
It's DayZ remade in the Doom engine. And it's very good / terrible. Like, if you've never played Doom, it's terrible. But if you miss the Doom aesthetic of like 10 feet of visibility and hyper fast movement and everything,
The movie
and
gives me a
sprites,
headache. It really does.
sprites for everything, you might enjoy this. But it's pretty cool. You can see plenty of videos. After our last problem with playing videos in the podcast, we're not going to show any of them to you. But yeah, this guy's trying to adapt DayZ's core gameplay into a 20-year-old engine instead of the 10-year-old engine they're currently using. Buzzing.
Hey. Operation Flashpoint is 14 years old.
Oh, right. But yeah, that's the thing. All right. And as soon as my tab loads back, man, we're flying through the news tonight. We only have 4 news items. So if you guys have other news items you want us to make fun of, let us know. But otherwise, Rockstar has said the delay on Grand Theft Auto 5 for the PC is because they need to polish it more. Grand Theft Auto 5 was coming out on the next-gen consoles, November? Late October? I think it's late October. November. All right, so I was wrong. But January 27th is when it comes out on the PC. And a lot of people were kind of upset when they announced that, because the implication when they announced stuff at E3 was that it was going to be out, before then.
I'll talk a little bit about the port delay.
Sure.
Because I really want to believe that this delay is, truly for the benefit of PC gamers, because the Max Payne 3 port was so good. The PC version of Max Payne 3 was one of the best ports I think I've played from last gen. It was amazing. But then you go back a little bit further and you look at GTA 4, and the horrible mess that it still is on PC, also weighed down by the anchor that is Games for Windows Live. I really can't figure out if this is really just Rockstar wanting to make the best out of their best GTA so far, and make the best PC version possible, or if it's been put on the back burner, and once again we're going to get a port that on a $2,000 computer runs at 24 FPS on medium settings, and it's just sluggish and a piece of junk. And I hope that's not going to be the case.
No, I mean, if they're taking extra time, I would hope that it's better. I mean, Max Payne 3 worked really well. Like I don't know if if that was ported by the same people who are doing this.
The expectation wasn't there like GTA.
What wasn't there?
The expectation.
It is Max Payne. I mean, it's not Grand Theft Auto, but it's a pretty big franchise.
But knowing how
that's
GTA
what I'm saying is
out,
I really can't figure out which way I'm leaning, because if looking at Max Payne 3 is like, oh, that was an amazing port. GTA 4, that was one of the worst ports PC has seen in the last 10 years. I'm so confused.
I'm a little torn too.
Way.
I think it could definitely be with fixing them, or they could have just said, "Oh, let's get all the assets in the game, and we'll figure out how to get it to work for the."
I mean, I am super excited. I miss playing it enough that I almost want to buy another copy, for the 360, just so I can, get my fix in for a couple months before it comes out for PC. Well, it was so much fun.
It really was.
I loved it. I want to go back to it. But I don't know.
The alias scene.
Well, James, it's coming out for you then in November for your PlayStation 4. Are you planning on buying it on that?
Depends on peer pressure.
Oh, Joel's gonna do it, Mr. Hollywood.
I think he had it on his PS3 and his Xbox 360 already. And I know he's gonna get it on the PC. So is he gonna go for the all four bases there?
I wouldn't surprise me.
I'm not going to lie, I've owned it for my PS3 and Xbox also.
Just so you can play with different people?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's normal.
I have a news item actually to add to the end.
Oh, do you? Add it in now.
And I really wish Joel were here for this, because I jokingly said this last night as he signed on to TeamSpeak to rant about DayZ, a game in progress, as usual. I'm going to call this news item Destiny.
What could it be about?
Bungie's lowest rated game of all time.
I feel like we did this news item last week, Dave, because you kept throwing it in there when Joel was talking about how much he loves it.
Did I? I don't think reviews were out. No, reviews weren't out yet. It took days for reviews to come out.
Oh, you mean officially
IGN
rated?
Still hasn't released theirs. We'll talk about that in a second.
Most reviews actually still are not out because there was no pre-release copies. The servers didn't go up until the day of release. It's not that Destiny appears to be a bad game. It's just that, I mean, for a Bungie game with a, what was it, $500 million budget.
That has to include marketing. That can't be just the development, can it?
It does include marketing, yes.
Okay, I was going to say, that's...
I mean, they were doing Times Square billboards and stuff for this, and it looks like they were really leaning towards their own personal marketing versus worrying about reviews at all. Now that reviews are coming out, they're generally pretty good, but actually IGN, James, looks like 85.
Oh, they just released one?
According to Metacritic, they did. GameStyle 80, Spazio Games, what is that? 75. Game Informer gave it an 88. That's a respectable score, but user score is well, forget user score on Metacritic. Those are worthless. Let's just not even talk about it.
That's all fanboys voting one direction or the other. I think, I bet there are no 2, 3s, and 4s on Metacritic. That's got to take up maybe 5% of the vote, and the rest is all 1s and 5s.
Yeah, actually, on user reviews, it looks like it's mostly either 10s or 0s.
Yeah.
So
they do a 10-point scale. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was interesting because
wait, what did you say Destiny got at IGN?
Metacritic says, oh, sorry, that's XGN. What is XGN?
IGN did release theirs.
What is it?
What do they give it?
7.8.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Hey, they're not. That's for everyone who thinks IGN's just a shill. That's not a shill score right there.
No, not at all. I'm really wondering
It's a
if
fear. They're in fear releasing their score.
I wonder how much of these reviews is publishers saying, okay, I mean, sorry, not publishers, websites and game reviewers saying, okay, there's no pre-release, there was really no rat race to be the like day one review. Why don't we just take our time and really not give it any slack? I wonder how much of that's going on. Mm-hmm. Like, spend some long time, maybe 30 hours in the game, look at the end game stuff and see what's there.
That would have worked well for Battlefield 4 reviews. I wish more people had held that off. I mean, they should have done that with Battlefield 4 because Battlefield 4 really is a multiplayer game. Like it's useless to release the single player review, I think, because almost no one plays it or cares about it. I mean, a lot of people probably play some of it.
But it works really well.
Yeah, it did. But like if they'd held off a couple days to release their reviews, they would have hit all of the huge multiplayer issues, and that game probably would have gotten the 7s it deserved. 6s in some cases.
on PC, probably 2s and 3s seen for the first few weeks. It was like crashing to desktop completely.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you think, like, I realize you want to get clicks, you got to drive people to your site, that's how they make money, screw them for wanting to have an income, but do you think for primarily multiplayer games, it should be standard practice to hold reviews for a couple days?
I'd say a week would be a good practice. A week and at least maybe, say, 15 hours in multiplayer. Like multiple modes. And for Destiny, a lot of people are saying that there's a lot of grinding. So to really get into what you should score the game, you've got to like spend some serious time in the multiplayer.
Well, but even if it's got like, so where do you decide if you should hold the review or not? Like for Battlefield, primarily multiplayer. Destiny, like all multiplayer pretty much. What about a game like The Last of Us that has a pretty good multiplayer component, but it's mostly the single-player story? Should you hold that to see how multiplayer holds up?
I would vote to have companies start doing 2 reviews.
Doing what?
Ooh,
that would make sense.
I like that a lot,
especially for games like Battlefield.
Oh, for multiplayer and for single-player separately?
Yeah, because like Call of Duty, I don't really play the multiplayer. I'll play the single-player campaign and trade it in or whatever. So I don't care how the multiplayer affects the score. So,
I like that a lot, actually. Yeah. The reason I wanted to add this as a news item is not just to stab Joel in the heart, but I thought it's just been very interesting on my Twitter feed. I have some people who are like Joel, and they've been playing Destiny non-stop since it came out, and they can't get enough. I have other people who picked it up, played it for a few hours, said this is the most generic sci-fi thing I've ever played, and then like they've returned it already in some cases. Like I have some people on Twitter who have just taken it back already. It's just really interesting to see how divided people are on Destiny.
Well, I think people wouldn't be so divided if it wasn't so hyped. Like, are you getting a next-gen console? Destiny's coming out. And then, as far as I can tell, and James, you're going to be getting your PS4 with Destiny soon, correct?
Woo!
Yes, tomorrow.
I want to hear from you, like, the hype train isn't on the podcast tonight, the Destiny hype train. I know he's really enjoying it, but I'd be curious to hear from you.
Kind of holding off, so we'll kind of have the same experience.
Well, I want to hear if you think it's much different from Borderlands. Well, all right, so confession time. I'm thinking I'm going to get a PS4 soon.
That did not sound like what you just no. You need to very carefully enunciate PS4, please.
What did it sound like I said?
It sounded like you said penis 4.
It sounded exactly like penis 4.
Version 4!
I thought you did say that, actually. I thought you were joking around being...
No, I'm going to be getting a PlayStation 4.
It sounded exactly like penis 4.
We need, like, instant replay.
Why would both of you assume that's what I meant?
I'm like, is that like a PC Master Race joke or something? I don't understand.
The penis. No, that'd be the potato 4. I'm thinking, from henceforth, it shall only be referred to as the potato 4.
Look at the chat.
All right, yes, everyone's piling onto the penis.
Please tell me that was intentional.
Yeah, of course that was intentional.
Well, we have Joel on here sometimes, who is the master
is never an
of
accident.
unintentional phrasing.
Penis is never an accident. It's there where it intends to be. I'm gonna stop. So I'm thinking about getting a potato 4. And I'm trying to decide, should I get the sweet white Destiny bundle or just buy it like used for $320 and buy games separately? What do you, I mean?
You gotta buy it off like
Amazon Warehouse. From Amazon Warehouse, it's like $330.
Jeremiah, you can't ask me because my answer to everything is wait for the $5 Steam sale because I'm a cheap.
They don't have that for the Potato 4.
See, that's where you lose me.
we actually know there are good games. If you have,
Costco
like,
does a pretty good deal. I think they're selling it like with an extra controller and a year of PlayStation Plus for like $450 or something.
that's really good.
Yeah, they're selling Xbox Ones for like $370 right now because Costco's the best. But yeah, I don't know. People in chat, do you think I should buy Destiny or not? I'm not going to make this decision based on what you say, but I felt like I should reference you every once in a while.
You're just trying to quell the flow of penis chat going on right now because there's a lot.
Lot of dicks in chat. A lot of dicks.
Ayo.
All right, I feel like that joke's pretty much played itself out. Tonight's main topic, and tonight's podcast...
Wait. DayZ news. There's a little bit of DayZ news.
Oh, I thought we were just... Okay, we're going to do that. DayZ has released another patch, which I don't feel like...
A stable patch?
Which I don't feel like really fixed anything, but I'm sure there's some big differences, which Dave will tell us about now.
Yes, I am. I don't know what kind of segue that was.
Well, what do you... am I supposed to be pumped going into this? You saw how it went last night.
We all heard your tears, Jeremiah.
They weren't tears. They were rage.
It's okay. Not everyone can be good at the game. No, the server we were on was totally broken.
Both servers we were on were terrible.
And apparently it wasn't...
Third one was a charm.
Yeah, and did you hear, James? I don't know if I said this to you today, but apparently there's entire hosting providers whose servers are more or less worthless right now because of bad configurations. So they're actually saying, like, if you want to play 0.49 like unstable right now, play on a multiplayer server because they're at least configured correctly and don't have a tick rate of 3. So yeah, there's definitely some growing pains with the patch release. And honestly, for every stable patch that's come out, we should have known better than to try to play, what was it, 3 hours after it came out? That was probably our first mistake. It's like you get the swarm of Steam player DDoSing the Hive anyway. The configuration was anyway. It was broken. After Jeremiah rage quit, James and I actually had a pretty good time because of the new temperature mechanic, which is finally balanced. You don't get hypothermia instantly anymore. You actually get wet and then cold and then freezing. And we spent, how long was it, James? It was like an hour looking for matches.
You're missing a period where Debbie ate a raw steak.
Yeah, I really feel like the combination of the new global loot system where there's less guns, less ammo, and less food spawning, along with like the new temperature stuff, really it's starting to feel survivalist again. The Hive wipe was needed. There's no longer an M4 on every corner. And yes, Debbie did horribly starve to death as we tried to revive her by force-feeding her beans while she lay unconscious, then doing CPR.
Which, how do you do that? Like, think about the logistics of that for a realistic survival game. Are you just like shaking her esophagus to like get them down into her stomach? Are you chewing them up and spitting them in her mouth? Like, how are you getting beans into her stomach?
I do it the bird method.
All I know is, in the apocalypse, if you were dying of starvation, how horrible would it be if like your friends trying to revive you or trying to like force feed you beans? So your body is literally just drained, you're dying of starvation, and as you're unconscious, you drown in beans. Like, what a horrible death. Like, you're not going to be remembered in the
Well, it's just
halls
beans.
of
You
the
guys were
apocalypse.
force feeding her zucchini. Like, no one wants to eat an entire zucchini.
None after she was unconscious. That was before that. There was a lot of zucchini force feeding before that, though. It's like
A
10
little awkward.
And she
Yeah,
still
it's like-
died.
It's like 10 calories.
She died because she ate raw meat.
Yes. There's an entire video on my channel up about it. It was actually hilarious. She was 2 minutes away from a town full of canned food.
Not only she ate one portion, she ate a second portion too.
Yeah, she ate 2 raw steaks.
Yeah, that bloody steak was pretty good. But yeah, once James and I found an actual server, it was really cool to not be worried so much about like, oh, I need a drum mag for my AK. We were like, hey, it'd be cool if some of the rifles we were carrying had ammo to match them, and we should probably find some matches so we don't get complete hypothermia.
We looked forever for just a box of matches. We had all this stuff. We had a cooking pot. We had a little gas pilot. We didn't have any matches.
And then the DayZ gods laughed at us. This was so perfect. In Novi Sobor, Jeremiah, after searching for, counting the village where Debbie was still with us, almost 2 hours for matches, I finally found a box of matches in the police station, and it had a single match inside. I was like, screw you, DayZ.
Oh, it got worse, though.
It did.
Do you remember you got hit by the zombie? You remember you got hit by the zombie that ruined the matches?
Oh, that was actually before that. That's why we had to search for so long when we had Debbie with us, was because I had a full box of Electro, but on the way to get cut up to you guys, a zombie like double hit me in the desync and insta ruined my shirt. I guess
in the desync.
I would have been able to bring
matches.
an epinephrine and a morphine to Debbie, and we might have been able to save her, except I was in the corner of the medical building. A zombie hit me, and I couldn't get out of the corner, even though there were 3 feet of room on either side of the zombie, because the zombie was there, and the server decided, nope, you're screwed. So I got hit like 5 times and bled to death when I ran out of the medical center. So, yeah, go ahead. Tell us about the awesome changes that have come to DayZ 0.49.
Well, I have to say before you list them all, I'm torn between the two. Like, I love searching through houses and just finding just a whole bunch of crap. To the point where I'm always doing inventory management. That's fun to me. But it was also fun running around in the big puffy coat. You know, you see the breath a little bit like heavier than normal because it's cold outside, and you're worried about hypothermia. So we actually have a goal. Our goal is to find stuff to make a fire so we can.
Yeah, I like goals like that.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It's everything that's broken that pisses me off.
And when I actually found a gun, it was a lot more exciting than just finding another SKS. Oh, do I want the Mosin or the SKS? It was just like, oh, a gun, a gun. Oh, I don't care. I gotta find a bullet now.
I'm pretty sure that when James he had found a blaze and like one speed loader for it, and he had an empty the break action hunting pistol that takes the Mosin ammo too. He had those, and then I found a box of 20 rounds of Mosin ammo. I think he peed himself. Like
my first gun though that I found was the shotgun.
Oh yeah,
and I found it and I have all this ammo. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Server restart. I go back in. I've still got the crossbow that I had, and the crossbow is also sitting on the ground. So,
because of persistence, when he picked the shotgun up, it lost it on his player data, but it duped the crossbow onto the ground. So it was just like sitting there on the floor mocking him, like, "Remember that shotgun that was here before? Look, it's your empty crossbow." Yeah, and Iceman, I see you talking a little bit about the loot, and I mean, it's been fun to constantly have good guns and have like 4 pistols and stuff like that, but at the same time, that's not what they're intending for DayZ. And I'm sure there'll be like private hives you could go to, just like in the mod, once modding comes out, where you'll be able to say like, I want like guns spawning in barns nonstop and stuff like that. But for the core DayZ experience, I really feel like they are on track for really balancing the loot spawns and making it into true survivalism. Like, I'm just really, really happy with that direction. If they could just get the core functions to stop falling apart every time there's an update, that would be great.
Well, when Standalone first came out, it was cool because they were releasing like a patch a week or a patch every 2 weeks, and we were super excited, like, wow, they're just adding more and more stuff. And then it feels like every time now the updates are just really going downhill in quality. And I understand they're in alpha, like we don't need to have the whole disclaimer thing, but it does seem like the quality of the updates they're releasing is going down, and the player base of the game is going down. The number of concurrent users has fallen off a lot since earlier this year, and I think it's probably because hacking is rampant, dickish players are rampant, and the game doesn't work very well right now, and all y'all's video went away for some reason.
Yeah.
Skype, you suck.
But yeah, so like, what's going on there?
I had a discussion, Jeremiah, on Reddit with somebody about that exact topic, the drop in concurrent players playing DayZ, and I agree. It's partially due to some rough patches, especially in the last month and a half. Patches have been rough, and partially because of hacking that's just really discouraging in DayZ. But at the same time, I was showing Joel, Armor 3 experienced the exact same thing, where when the alpha first came out, the player base was huge, and then it dropped a ton by late alpha. Like almost, I stopped playing it by late alpha. I was just waiting for content to come out, And then once Arma 3 actually launched, I slowly started playing more and more and more. So it's almost like a cross section of a skate ramp as far as players go. And I would really expect the same thing as far as concurrent players go for DayZ. As patches improve, as more features come out, as we get closer to beta, it's going to go back up. I don't think it's like a shocking thing to see that it's gone down.
I think when they throw vehicles in, you'll see a big spike.
Yeah, I was talking
for a little while.
I was talking to Joel about that. Actually, James, I'm betting that there'll be like a medium-sized spike for vehicles that'll drop off pretty quickly because it's going to be like 1 or 2 vehicles at first, and they are going to be pretty rare. I'm betting the big spike that keeps growing is going to be around the end of the year when the new renderer comes in with the new UI, and that's going to increase frame rate and the game's going to look better. I think that's where people are going to start coming back and like keep coming back is around that time. That's my guess.
I mean, I can say, and I don't want to be like too... I don't want to be too negative. I know I was frustrated last night, and we can talk about it. But honestly, right now, I do not want to play the game. And it's not I'm never coming back to it. It's not like Battlefield 4. I still think the core gameplay is fun.
Hey, is my video back on?
Yeah, your video's back on. But right now...
Click at the bottom. Turn your video on.
I do not want to play this game at the moment. I'm not trying to be mean. But, I mean, back me up, Dave. Well, maybe you're not the right person to back me up on this. Back me up on it's frustrating right now.
No, I'll back you up because breaks, especially when you're playing a piece of software that's not only not finished yet, but at periods of its development, it's going to be more broken than it was earlier. I mean, it's gonna come and go. I've been talking to Joel since our Novo event in DayZ. I've only played 2 or 3 times in very short play sessions. Like I played 2 hours with James on Saturday, James. It was very short session because I don't want to get burned out on the rough state of the game before it's finished. And that's why I'm coming back, and I'm definitely playing experimental when it comes out and running around and checking out new stuff, but that's just briefly. I'm not getting in there, building a campsite and really playing DayZ as I would call myself playing it. Like I'm not getting into it like I can.
I wonder though if early access, and this is going back to the early access thing, I wonder if that hurts games in the long run.
The developers say it doesn't, but our most early access games. Yeah, but our early access games is it designed to be early access for a year and a half, like DayZ probably is going to be, or should early access be a couple months?
ARMA 3's early access was pretty short. It was from mid-March to mid-September.
Yeah, and I felt like that was pretty good. Also, ARMA 3 was pretty much feature complete when it hit early access, which was a big difference. I'm
going to disagree there. ARMA 3 was very stable at launch, but it was very bare bones. I mean, there was no campaign. There was no...
No. ARMA, I'm saying early access was like, they didn't add tons of features during early access. They were just polishing it during early access. The campaign and stuff came after release.
There was a good amount of content, yeah.
Yeah. The campaign and stuff came after release, which I also think is a weird thing to do, but they've done that with their other ARMA games, so I guess it's, it's not out of character for Bohemia. It would be like if DayZ was released... Say the shape that DayZ is probably going to be in at the start of next year, 1 year after it went early access. If that had been the first time early access came out, like that might have been better because the game is completely different than it was when it came out last December.
Yeah,
it's totally different, and I don't know. I feel like early access has been done a lot better than DayZ has been, just because it was so early. But I understand from their point of view, they had to get something out because people were going to start losing interest. They'd already gone over when they wanted to release it by 1 year. So what are they going to do? Wait another year? Like, you can't really go 2 years from announcing you're going to have something out soon to actually having it out. There's not many people who are going to stick around for new IP like that.
It is rough because they did announce originally December 2012 for the repackaged version of the mod, and then it was all of 2013 was the alpha's almost ready. It's coming soon, just a little bit more polishing. But looking at their 2.5 plus billion sales, I feel like if they had some sort of big meeting and they just locked it down and said, guys, let's just add tons of features. Let's have another year of development before we launch alpha. And they launched in December 2014. I would bet it would be an almost unnoticeable hit on the total sales. And I would bet the hype train would have been ridiculous once it came out.
Yeah, because I mean, like we talked about before it came out. Are people still going to play this game because it's been so long?
Yeah, I remember that.
And plenty of people did.
Yeah.
But yeah, would it really have mattered? Who knows? And I'm sure the game is going to end up being pretty good, but it isn't right now.
Well, in that regard, do you think H1Z1 like pushing back their early access is a good thing?
I'm glad you brought that up, James, because I actually saw a quote from, I think it was Cleggs, one of the developers, about why they pushed H1Z1 back so far when DayZ launched really so early in alpha. And he had an interesting point about DayZ that I thought was really interesting. He said basically because DayZ was first and has a very established player base and is the biggest and also has a very unique style to it. Like it's definitely the more like simulator focused, like more, it has that kind of grounded feel to it. He's like, there's a lot of people who, because DayZ is so big and was first, would forgive it easier and come back to it faster.
Definitely true.
And, like even if you play DayZ right now on the desynced, broken, non-multiplayer servers, and you hated the experience, you uninstalled it, but maybe like 6 months from now, you hear about like, look at all these awesome vehicles, you like see a YouTube video, and you come back in, and if it was actually good, you'd remember all that fun you had before, you'd come back. But H1Z1, their first impression being like maybe the 6th or 7th survival style game, larger one that's come out, they have to nail that first impression, and that's what he was talking about. And I'm glad they're thinking about that. That's a really good point. They're not going to have the forgiveness that DayZ has had, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely not.
I wonder if DayZ is kind of their checklist of what not to do.
It would be a good idea to look at it.
I mean, if they're looking at make sure their servers can handle the the desyncing issues and.
But SOE already has a lot of that covered. Like their big thing is trying to have their idea be good enough. I think they've got the resources, they've got the back end, or at least they have a history of having the back end. Maybe they've screwed it up for this game, but historically they've done a pretty good job at the stuff that DayZ's actually having the most trouble with. Mm-hmm. Most of the stuff DayZ has trouble with, other games never do. Like I know I laugh about it a lot, but like most other games, jumping just works. Most other opening doors just works. Climbing ladders, like you never think about that in other games. It's only Bohemia games that have those issues. So,
it's because DayZ is having to like deconstruct and then reconstruct, whereas H1Z1, they have this very new engine. They start at the foundation and just build their new stuff on top of that. They're not having to take it apart.
But DayZ also had that option too.
They had that option.
Yeah, if they held off on their release, they could have started building on the ARMA 3 engine.
True.
I feel like they went with the engine they went with because that was what was available, and they didn't want to pay to like license something else. But as the scope of the project grew, I think hindsight being 2020, they would have been. Well, yeah, they should have started with ARMA 3
engine.
Yeah, they, like if hindsight being 2020, maybe they should have just started from that, since they did start working on it and then pretty much throw it all away and start over again.
The only downside to that would have been that they would have had to wait until roughly September or October of last year to really start working on the alpha, which means that we'd be seeing that initial very bare bones launch around this time, which would then mean
I wouldn't say that, because the ARMA 3 engine must have been pretty solid for at least 6 months before its early access came out, because they were adding features and stuff to it.
A lot of the legacy stuff is still there in ARMA 3. The stuff that the DayZ team has gone and changed, like the server backend. Everyone forgets that that was last year. That was a lot of backend work. That was a huge part of last year's work was the server client architecture, and that would have still.
But you're still working on 2 games at once and not working on one and then working on a different one with a different team with a different set of rules and then trying to figure out how to eventually migrate.
I don't think ARMA 3 in the end would have saved any time at all. I really don't.
Not time. It would have saved player frustration, maybe.
That's true. I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Although ARMA 3 is still not like super smooth when it comes to like doors and ladders and other stuff. It's a lot better though. It's a lot better. Like when you switch weapons, it does just switch weapons. When you get in vehicles, it does just get in vehicles. Like it doesn't have a lot of those issues, but
you can still draw very easy parallels between ARMA 3's post-launch patch history and like DayZ's development. They're doing a lot of the same kind of work, trying to bring ARMA 3 even still up to date. And I'm just glad that Bohemia is now flush with cash to really put some real effort into getting some polish going here.
But
maybe it can license an engine.
It has to be a hit though. DayZ's already sold 2.5 million. How high is it going to go? You know, is this the type of game that can do 10 million, or is it going to cap at like 3 lifetime?
Well, that's the whole point of putting it on console is they've widened their base.
Hopefully, but how much money is that going to cost them, and how much longer is that going to take? Like, how long will this amount of money last them? You know, they keep hiring more people. That's really going to cut into their yearly budget. Like, they're on borrowed time a little bit to make this game a hit. And unfortunately, when studios don't have a lot of money and are on borrowed time, the games normally don't end up that well. I mean, I hope it's different with this one. But even if it wasn't, I've gotten enough enjoyment out of DayZ. I couldn't be mad. Like, I'd be disappointed. But it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, man, you know, out of the grand total of, I guess it's been $40 I've spent on ARMA 2 and DayZ together. You know, that $40 sure wasn't worth the 600 hours I've put into it, you know. Yeah.
Although, you know, if they pull the plug now, it would still get made by somebody else.
Yeah.
I guess like the modding community would still find a way.
Well, I mean, the modding community's been hard at work on the ARMA 2 mod. I've told Dave this. The ARMA 2 mod, or DayZ mod, actually runs really well. I played it about a month ago. Hotbar, or not hotbar, it doesn't have a hotbar, but like the quick switching works, inventory's instantaneous. The zombie, like AI in general, is still broken, but I mean, it's the same broken it's always been. It's not inconsistent. You can still hit them and they die, which is nice. Like, except for
if you could hit them.
all the features that are missing from the mod, because it's the mod. Like, yeah, the standalone's added a lot of nice features, but all the features that are in the mod actually work really well for the most part, and it's a very smooth, stable experience.
Yeah. It's just that the mod is never going to grow to be what it was intended to be. It's just you can only do so much with scripts on top of ARMA 2, and it was never going to be what they wanted it to be.
All right, so Dave, you skipped time codes.
Yeah, I'm going back. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's all good.
I hate, like, I feel like a jerk every time I fuss at you about that. Like, I'm not actually fussing at you. I'm just...
No, I actually realized my timer was off, so I just stopped caring. I'm going to go back.
I don't really care. I mean, I care that you're doing it, but, like, I don't, you know...
It's not a big...
All right, it's time for the main topic. We actually don't have any mail this week. It's the first time in a couple months. Our main topic tonight is Mojang has sold to Microsoft for $2.5 billion. $2.5 billion with a B dollars. So I've got some strong opinions about this, but what do you guys think?
I think that I have no strong opinions about this, but I am amazed that Minecraft has apparently sold, like, what is it, 60 million copies?
Oh, it's monstrous.
Or is it 100 million copies now?
I don't think it's 100. I think it's in the mid 0 to 100 range. Like, it's more
50
than...
or 60 million, yeah.
Yeah. Probably more than WoW. But here's the statement that they released. Oh, Benjamatic in chat, let us know why your brother lost his job. I'm very curious to hear about that. So they released a statement. Owen Hill, who actually used to work for PC Gamer, used to be their web editor, it works now at Mojang, and he said, Minecraft has grown from a simple game to a project of monumental significance. Though we're massively proud of what Minecraft has become, it was never Notch's intention for it to get this big. Which is true. It was released as like a dumpy little, like, hey, here's my Legos rip-off game. See what you think. As you might already... What?
What was that voice?
What voice?
You're like, hey guys, da 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 da.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't even thinking.
Reading with a weird voice.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
As you might already know, Notch is the creator of Minecraft and the majority shareholder at Mojang. He's decided he doesn't want the responsibility of owning a company of such global significance. Over the past few years, he's made attempts to work on smaller projects, but the pressure of owning Minecraft became too much for him to handle. The only option was to sell Mojang. He'll continue to do cool stuff, though. Don't worry about that. There are only a handful of potential buyers with the resources to grow Minecraft on a scale that it deserves. We've worked closely with Microsoft since 2012 when it came to the Xbox 360, and have been impressed by their continued dedication to our game and its development, and we're confident that Minecraft will continue to grow in an awesome way.
What does scale that deserves mean? I mean,
that means like a big company would have to buy it. So many people play it, like their server backend and stuff has to be massive. Like, not just anyone can buy them. It has to be someone like EA or Activision or Sony or Microsoft. It's got to be one of the huge players in video games. Like, no one else is going to have the resources to keep the game running and to continue developing it. So, I mean, what do you guys think about the sale?
Part of me doesn't care.
Yeah, that's kind of
care.
Kind of where I am. I was curious reading Notch's statement. It sounded like he came to that final decision to sell like in the last few weeks after that end user license agreement thing, where apparently his team working on Minecraft had changed the license agreement without his knowledge, because he's not the lead dev on Minecraft anymore. And then he was like dragged into this huge internet fight over it, and he had no idea what was going on. And that, I think what he was saying was like that's when he decided that it's just time to get out.
Get out and go buy an island.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I can definitely understand looking at how some game developers have been thrown into the spotlight without ever really wanting that, and the crap they have to deal with.
Dean
I can
Hall
see,
and Notch.
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from, but that seems really, really rash to me. Like maybe in 2 or 3 weeks deciding I'm going to leave everything behind. I'm just tired of it all. That's pretty extreme.
It would be really easy to pick on Notch because he's very publicly shamed other companies who've sold out, like Oculus. Although he was mostly mad at them because they were kickstarted and then sold out. But he's always been very much like, don't sell out to the man, be strong, be independent. And he makes lots of snarky comments. But he did release a statement that made me respect him a little bit more after the whole sale thing was announced. He said, hey, I'm just a coder, guys. Like, I just want to make games. I mean, I don't like... I never wanted to be the CEO of a big company. I still don't want to be the CEO of a big company. And that makes me understand, like, yeah, I can see why he'd be upset at people for like selling out other things. And it's easy to poke at him because he really did the same thing. But how else do you get out of it? I mean, it'd be stupid of him to give it away. Like that's,
no,
and Mojang couldn't, they just couldn't do that. And this $2.5 billion, not sure how much of that he gets, but that'll be enough to fund his next 30 projects, you know. He can go back to doing what he wants to do. He probably will never make another Minecraft. He said he never expects to have a hit on the level of Minecraft. I mean, most video game developers never have a hit like Minecraft, so that's pretty reasonable. He's not expecting lightning to strike twice.
A don't have hits like Minecraft.
Yeah, like no one has hits like Minecraft, really. I mean, Grand Theft Auto is a hit like Minecraft. Like, World of Warcraft is a hit like Minecraft. Like, the list is pretty small. So it's reasonable for him to want to get some money out of it. Minecraft's probably worth that much. Supposedly Microsoft said they're going to make this much money back by sometime next year. But man, $2.5 billion brings me back to we were talking when Oculus sold out. Like, no one should get on their high horse and be like, oh, how dare they? Yeah, man, $2.5 billion. Like, there isn't much I wouldn't sell you for $2.5 billion. Never want me to take a picture again? Done. Never want me to play a PC game again? Like, I'll miss you guys, but $2.5 billion. I mean, back me up here.
Podcast over.
The list of things I wouldn't
actually have real life experiences.
Yeah. The list of things I wouldn't do for $2.5 billion. That's a small list. Like, you can't kill me for $2.5 billion, and you can't kill anybody for $2.5 billion. The list mostly stops after that. Like,
all I'm hearing, Jeremiah, is I do things. I do a lot of things. No limits for $2.5 billion.
I mean,
I'm a little disappointed that it's Microsoft.
Why?
In that, are they going to close it down to Sony? And
a lot of people are worried about that because right now it's on the PC, Mac, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, Vita, iOS, and Android.
Yeah.
So it's not on Windows Phone though. So I guess that could happen. But
yeah, I don't see it as like a huge news item. I mean, I was like
our main topic.
I think it's a big news item.
Okay, let me rephrase that. It is a huge news item, but I don't think like after a few weeks, it's not going to affect anybody. I don't think it's going to change much. I don't think Microsoft's going to do a lot with Minecraft right now. I don't see it disappearing from Sony platforms or from PC. I'm not sure where they're going with it next, but
I mean, they might just be looking at it as a source of revenue. Like, if they're going to make this money back each year, let's say maybe they make $2 billion a year from Minecraft. Think how many hits they'd have to make $2 billion a year. like it's worth it to them, I think, to keep it on all those platforms. Like the way Minecraft is, it's the rare game that can really run pretty well on anything. Like it'll probably be on smartwatches sooner or later. It behooves them, I think, to put it on every platform they possibly can just to rake in the money, because they could. I mean, that's like having 5 major hits every single year, probably. You know?
Actually, I think Nintendo would have been a good buyer of that, because they could use the...
Do you think Nintendo has the... Do you think they have the scope, though?
No, but...
That would fit their theme, though. Like, I feel like I could really see Minecraft with a Nintendo, like, logo on it. It feels like that would fit for some reason. Maybe Zelda and its blockiness. I don't know.
It does seem like a very Nintendo game. The playfulness.
Worked really well on the gamepad.
Actually, it's not on any Nintendo systems, is it?
No.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if this is going to make it more likely to come out on Nintendo systems, but yeah, the gamepad would be perfect for it. And it works really well with those, you know, I bet it's 60 FPS locked, 1080p on a Wii U. Yeah, I agree with Dave. Like, it's a big news story because it's one of those scrappy upstart game developers that kind of took over the world and then made a ton of money. It's a big deal.
James said he's going to buy his island now.
Yeah, when the man buys them and it doesn't get much more the man than Microsoft.
I know.
But yeah, it's probably not really going to be that big of a difference. Like, it's not... Again, it'd be stupid for Microsoft to make it Xbox exclusive. Like people have been saying in chat, people have been saying all over the news. You know, maybe there'll be an Xbox, Minecraft 2 that's an Xbox exclusive, or maybe there'll be DLC that's just for Xbox. You know, there's going to be DLC, I'm sure. But, you know, there'll be tons of stuff probably they'll do to make their version better, but it's probably not really going to mess the game up.
Buy the company like they bought Rare in the past, like where they still maintain their own identity?
Mojang is maintaining its own, I think, branding still. Yeah.
Yeah, that worked out so well for Rare.
and Westwood Studios, Forever Bitter.
Yes.
Let's get angry.
DICE. Now we're all just sad.
Look, Jeremiah. EA did not take away DICE's name. They just ruined it for them.
Right, exactly. That's what we're talking about. Like Rare. Rare still existed.
Westwood Studios does not exist anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But I'd say, like, what's happening to DICE is kind of what happened to Rare. Rare was, like, super respected. Like, these are the guys for competitive first-person shooters. And then they became the guys who make garbage. And I'm not saying that's what's happening with DICE, but kind of saying that. Another person weighed in on that. Rust, which is the game that's basically DayZ crossed with Minecraft, says he would do the exact same thing if he was in the same position, which I don't know if it's like some veiled, please buy me. You know, like he's gone through so many issues with Rust. Maybe he'd be like, just give me 30 million. I'm out. 30 million. I'm gone. Yeah,
well, but I feel like he could just retire right now on his $5 Gary's Mod sales and like live for the rest of his life just off of that.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Gary's Mod has sold 6 million copies.
I mean, that's amazing. That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it's probably most indie developers. It's only a big deal that the guy who makes Rust said it, Gary Newman. It's only a big deal he said it probably because Rust is decently popular and a lot of people, you know, it's in a similar vein. But probably every single indie developer is like, hey, you want to buy my game for a couple $1 billion? Yeah, I'll sell. That level of integrity will go right out the door, and then I'll just make all the games I've always wanted to make but have never been able to. I bet you Dean would sell. I bet Dean would sell in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's already very publicly said a lot of things to make it obvious that he's gotten enough abuse and he's kind of ready to do his next project. You know, he's committed, exactly. He's staying on board to finish it, but you know his heart is leaving a little bit. And I'm sure it's partly because of all the abuse he's had to deal with as being a guy who likes making games, a guy who likes doing code, who suddenly gets thrust into the spotlight and now like has the eyes of the internet watching him. You know, that's...
Well, Dean's publicly said, too, that he was very careful when he sold the DayZ name, which is now owned by Bohemia, and he signed his contract personally with Bohemia Interactive, that his contract had a very solid expiration date. His contract is up in December. He said, I'm staying on with DayZ until they don't need me anymore, but he wanted that, like, definitive, I can escape from this point on in his contract.
Well, it's December. You don't need me anymore.
December 25th. Bye. I'm not coming back after Christmas.
I mean, that would,
Extended
yeah.
vacation.
Dean's like cleared out his desk before Christmas break. What you doing there, Dean?
Just
We got a
taking
cardboard
some
box.
stuff home.
It's happening.
New Zealand, I'm coming home to you.
That was awful.
I'm terrible at doing accents. I'm
that
sorry.
was really awful.
I know.
That was like
I'm sorry.
it was leaning towards Australia, but like
Well, that's
a little
New
bit
Zealand.
offensive.
Right. It's leaning towards Australia.
Ooh.
What? It is. They're like right next door, and they sound pretty similar.
Do it again.
No, I don't think I could actually do it again. Like, it's just, it comes and it goes.
I'm gonna kind of break the American stereotype here and say that I actually think Australian and New Zealand accents sound pretty noticeably different. Like maybe not at first, but
I can tell a difference, but
it's a
like
definite difference.
it's like saying Irish people and English people sound different. They do, but there's a lot of similarities
it's a
there.
huge difference. What are you talking about?
Okay, evidently I'm just wrong, guys. I'll stop now.
Irish and British? What?
Maybe like Irish and Scottish can have some similarities.
All
not
right.
necessarily-
Obviously, this was a mistake. I regret everything. Let's move on.
You should.
I'm so sorry. Well, I mean, that's like.
for our British listeners.
Do you guys have anything more to say about that? A Walrus
Nope.
Nipple says, "Say my
I
name."
go back to my I don't care.
Walrus Nipple? I don't know. That's not even. I'm bad at this. Sorry, what thing, James?
I said I go back to my I don't care. Really. That's it.
We should just end the podcast right there. James, I don't
Dave,
care.
I almost had something. I almost had something funny to scare you with.
You almost had funny, like in your grasp was so close.
A news item that says Road Redemption roars onto Steam Early Access, and for a second I read it as Red Dead Redemption. I was like, what? Road Redemption. It's a spiritual.
access. What kind of terrible port would that be?
Well, it's a spiritual successor to Road Rash, which was like the Sega Genesis game where you beat people with chains while riding on motorbikes. Pretty fun game.
I'm just gonna start calling Red Dead Redemption the game that is the reason I'm going to buy a $20 Xbox 360 off of Craigslist in a few years.
I'd say that's worth it.
Yep.
Just borrow Joel's from him. He probably doesn't even use it anymore.
I think I told James that today, or my plan is to wait until Joel's is like covered in dust and then just like
Just take it.
ask for it. And
I
he'll
mean,
give it
just
to me.
yes, that's right. Just
You
ask
better
for
watch
it.
out. He might trade. He trades in stuff on a whim, though.
That's true. Joel and his
if you-
games. I've never seen anybody so excited about GameStop and Best Buy credit as Joel is. Like he is the corporate dream. Like, I get how much store credit?
Yeah, he's explained to me. He's like, no, guys, when you bring stuff in, you can just put it towards the thing you want. I was like, yeah, I can also sell it and put the money towards anything I want. That's how money works.
But you get a car. I'm part of the team.
No, any day that I can avoid going to GameStop is a good day. I don't think I've been in a GameStop in like well over a year because it's just so aggravating. Like it used to be that they really knew what they were talking about and you could talk tech and games and stuff with them. Now it's just like, would you like to pre-order? Would you like to pre-order anything? Would you like to sign up for GameStop rewards? Would you like to get in the game or whatever their motto is? It's like, no, I just wanted this used game, just this one. That's all I wanted. I'm sorry that you're not being paid well, but I can't help it.
I saw a post, I think it was on Reddit, of someone who had gone to GameStop for the first time in like 6 years. I think they were getting Destiny, actually. And besides the game itself, like the guy was trying to sell him like all these user guides, and like there was like a poster you could get, and like you could like pre-order the DLC coming up for it. Like you want the premium add-on, you know, you can get a GameStop card, you can get 10% off of that today. And we have the strategy guide, and we have, you know, the poster set. And he said that like, and he guy's like, and don't forget about these upcoming new releases for PS4. And he's like, the more I shook my head, like the sadder and sadder the guy got, but he never stopped. He just kept going. It was just getting sadder and sadder and sadder as he went. It was like a good 5-minute spiel before he was able to pay for his copy of Destiny.
The way to cure all that when you go into GameStop is to take your young children with you.
Ooh, very
And when they
nice.
start acting bat beep crazy, they stop handing you stuff and they stop asking you if you'd like to, know
Just
about
be
the
like,
latest.
Does it look like I have money? All my money goes to these two.
my hands are full. Do you think I have a? please put this flyer.
I like walking into Best Buy now because I'm just like, nope, just trust me. Like, you're not going to want to have this discussion. Like, please don't explain to me why, this thing is better than this thing because I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong. Let's just get this over with. Like, I heard someone in Best Buy.
No, I do not want my game installed by Geek Squad
for $80.
Your house.
Would you like would you like an $100 extended warranty on that disc in case something happens to it?
So Joel just messaged me and said, add him to the conversation. Do we feel like fighting tonight?
Yes. Okay.
Who's ready to argue?
I am.
All
right, let me throw up the splash screen. OBS is like freezing. This is fantastic. All the technology.
Oh, I got a text too. I just noticed it.
Okay, all right, I'll add him in.
I'm the
He
better
really wants to be on
friend.
the podcast.
Hey guys.
Hey Joel.
Who's there?
So Joel, I'm thinking I'm going to get a PS4, but I'm on the fence about whether I should.
Wait. What are you buying? Tell them.
Oh no, sorry. Oh, I said it wrong. Oh, henceforth on the podcast, it is referred to as the Potato 4. But I'm thinking about getting a Potato 4, but I don't know if I should get Destiny or not.
Oh, okay. How come? What are you getting a PS4 right now for, anyways?
To play with you guys. Joel, what does your shirt say? People in chat want to know.
I don't even want to explain it. Okay. Okay, so my wife.
Stand up.
Oh, man. Here you go. Look.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, what I learned is that this little sign right here actually makes it more of the male version. That's not the correct way.
So when did John graduate?
Back in 2004.
Joelism.
No, so wait, Joy didn't even know that either. Okay, a lot of people didn't know that. And
I wouldn't have known.
A lot of people don't know.
Okay, well the best part is, I've had this church for years now. She graduated in 2009, and I was out running it was like a year later after that. I was just running down, and people were like, "Oh, congratulations, man!" And I was just like, "Oh man, they're really nice." I'm like running, and like, "Congratulations on running." and then it took me a while to "Oh, I'm wearing this shirt," And then some guy was like, "I'm pretty sure you're meeting
Everybody's
your
running
wife,
right.
but just in case."
Everybody's walking by and saying, "Hey, way to go, man!
Way to be open-minded.
Be true to yourself."
As Joel always is.
So Joel, that's what I'm on the fence about. It's like I kind of want to get a PS4. There's plenty of games to play on it. Well, there's some games to play on it, and I'd probably just get PlayStation Plus really and just play the stuff that pops up on that. But should I get Destiny and play it with you guys? Is it really that fun?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I like it a lot.
How does it compare to
it's
Borderlands?
Okay, honestly, I haven't played that much. I played more in the alpha and the beta than I have played the standalone because I'm just trying to wait for James to get his so that we can play together, It's honestly, the controls are just awesome. They're just really, really good. So it's one of those things where it is really repetitive. It's just okay, over here, you scan something real quick, then you wait for a while, shoot stuff. The next mission, scan something, collect different items, shoot stuff.
Boring way to describe every game. You shoot stuff, you move around, later you shoot other stuff.
But it's not really that different from DayZ, where you spawn in, you look for loot, then you shoot stuff, then you die. Spawn in, you loot for stuff, you shoot people, then you die. But I'm it's just fun. The mechanics are really well made, so.
So, Joel, did you have anything you wanted to talk about as the podcast winds down tonight?
Oh, I got a comment of the week for Joel to read in his usual fun voices. Can you get the Google Doc up, Joel, to read the comment?
Yeah, I can get it up.
It's the first comment, and then I'll explain the second. What did I miss here?
That was actually a pretty quick thought of yours. He said, "Yeah, I can get it up," and then he immediately laughed.
So, is it still a Joelism if I get it really quick?
So the definition of Joelism is when Joel doesn't understand that he's saying crazy things? Is that?
when it takes him a while, or someone has to like point it out to him, like, "Hey, Joel, that's not what that means."
Joel, you're not allowed to. We don't say that.
Yeah, you can't say that, Joel.
Oh man. Okay, let's see. Comments of the week.
Yeah, it's the first one.
Oh, this is the part of the podcast where Dave heads out into the woods with an axe and cuts down a tree and looks for the ones with the nice rotten centers to bring back some of that pulpy meat for us to chew on.
YouTube comment meat. And to preface this comment, Joel, this comment was on a Empire Total War video. In case you guys weren't aware, the discussion.
RTS video.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Joel, the discussion of RTS game artillery is a very serious topic, okay? I want you to take this very serious comment very seriously and really express this guy's passion about RTS artillery, okay? Can you do that for me?
Oh man.
And
People are so dumb. Why did they even spend time writing this stuff?
Maybe censor the worst of it just for iTunes' sake.
I don't know what voice to read for this thing.
I
Reading the voice of someone who spends a lot of time watching RTS videos on YouTube.
Oh, wait, Joel. Remember the reenactment? The artillery man?
What is that? What are you?
Okay, what are these?
Thunking, Joel?
I can't breathe.
I'm not the one who did that.
Okay, I made a GIF out of it and then I totally deleted it by accident. But I need to do it again one of these days. But shooting a little scene for Norman, nothing. We actually didn't get any good shots that day or that weekend. But it was a really fun trip. But the best shot was this really big dude, just good old boy, huge guy,
400, 500 pounds, wearing suspenders and like Civil War era clothes, like suspenders,
like a grapefruit with
He looked
legs.
like Humpty Dumpty.
A grapefruit with legs.
He was very rotund.
So imagine
he was egg shaped. He was actually egg shaped, like overall.
he was a very special size. And so he's at the front of the cannon and he's loading. And he's got like the big.
This is during the
whatever-
Civil War reenactment. Just
I don't know what
context
you call-
for
I don't know what you call it, Dave. Though whatever, it's like a stick with a little.
The swab, basically. They're
He's pumping the cannon.
He's cleaning the bore of the cannon.
You pick the words, Dave, please.
He's cleaning the bore of the cannon. He's not pumping the cannon, Joel. It's called a bore. It's a swab.
In my GIF, he was. So.
Continue. Breathe and continue.
So he's in the front, and he's just.
It looks like this 400-pound man is carrying an 8-foot-long Q-tip that he uses.
He is just slamming the rod in there.
It was loud,
but like just this big guy, all of his weight just jiggle, and so I just had to do a loop of the GIF, and it just sounds amazing.
Do you have a link to this you can upload to Imgur real quick?
I have to make it. I have to make it again.
Oh.
One of these days, remind me to do it.
Well, how did you send it to us?
When I originally sent it, it was on Dropbox. Yeah, so I linked you guys.
You
But
deleted it from Dropbox?
yeah, I deleted it by accident. So, anyways, it's just him going thunk thunk thunk. It was amazing.
that guy had his own baggage train in the Civil War. It was just full of
And then
biscuits.
what was the one guy who asked us about the movie? He's like, "You doing one of those movie houses or something?"
Yeah, this is gonna play in like a movie
Film
house,
houses.
a film
Film
house.
house.
This can be playing one of those film houses. I was like, "What are you from?"
No, Joel, you actually got to talk to an actual Civil War veteran right there. He wasn't reenacting. He thought the battle was real. I'm just in time.
All right, I guess I'll do this one as a Civil War reenactor.
Yes, there we go.
I'd like to see you fire a cannon at 500 meters and hit something at least once in 500 tries, asshole. She didn't rape you. Smiley
Oh,
face.
sorry.
No,
sorry,
that's
that was
a separate comment.
Oh. Way to go.
Sorry, I heard
Asshole. Oh, she didn't rape you.
That's okay.
That's like not even What is that?
So the second comment, yeah, it's really actually kind of weird. It was posted on my DayZ loot video, and all the comment said was, "Oh, well, at least she didn't rape you." Smiley face. And I have no idea what it's referencing whatsoever.
It's in the video where you saw the loot in the woods and went for it and got shot.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, well, at least she didn't rape you. She who?
Is that a R. Kelly reference?
I don't know what's going on. YouTube, stop. Just stop.
But, comment, subscribe, and hammer that like button.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
With your throbbing enthusiasm. Or anger boner, whichever one you've got going on at the time.
What you chewing over there, Jeremiah?
Gum. Nope,
Why
just
are you
gum.
chewing gum on a podcast?
A little bit of tobacco.
Nope, just gum.
You missed Jeremiah's New Zealand accent. It was pretty good.
It wasn't very good at all.
It was horrific. I'm pretty sure that was a war crime against Australia and New Zealand.
Does anyone have a news topic in chat? This applies to you guys too. Do you have any news topics you want us to cover really quickly before we go tonight? Or are we actually going to end this podcast on time?
Is there anything Joel wants to revisit?
Yeah, Joel.
I
hey, Joel.
what?
Can we fight about something tonight? Can you bring up a topic for us to fight about?
I don't want to fight tonight, guys. I'm too tired.
Oh, all
Why
right.
don't you get
I'll
on?
just take it. I just got on the podcast to take it.
Same as usual.
So
We can talk about
PS4. How come you wanted to get that? And,
well-
because you just did a whole bunch of more weddings. I
gotta
gotta get rid of this money somehow.
Oh no, don't worry. That
It's all
money's
coming in so quick.
nope. That
Greg
money's
answers
already
more
gone.
guns.
Don't worry. That money's already gone.
I don't understand that.
What do you mean?
It's been laundered.
No,
What fun things have you gotten, or is it all going to the car?
the car.
Is the car eating up all the fun money, or
No.
Have you bought more guns?
We don't owe anything
or
on the car.
Are you approaching a Joel level of glowing electronics behind your TV? I mean,
No,
come on.
we're just like adult things. Like it's all going into savings.
Okay.
And,
whoa,
Adult
whoa! You have savings?
yeah, like savings. Retirement.
Practically retired now, old man.
Stuff like that.
Robert Downey Jr.
I don't need to hear about these adult things.
I'd have to get
This
that 1.5x scale, Joel, just so it's big enough.
This podcast is rated iTunes mature for savings accounts.
Wait, I don't know if you guys are. See, I'm confused now. Are you guys joking, or are you actually like asking? Like, there's always good things you can do if you get an influx of cash. You don't just have to buy things with it.
Oh, I remember.
You remember what is that?
I remember what that's like.
Here, no, I'll show you. I'll show you where the money went. 1 second.
Oh, please be a giant stack of cold hard cash, please. With like a rubber band.
You stay good to me. I'll remember me. I'll remember you.
You'll remember you.
I'll remember me. I'll remember me when I get
No.
rich.
This is
Alzheimer's will not kick you.
Joel's counting his cash, man. All those idiots that work for me for free. I really appreciate this money.
Joel. You know that 35mm lens of mine you like so much?
Yeah.
This is the 50 version. I just got it. It's the 50mm.
Sweet.
It is gorgeous. I've only used it at one wedding and one photo shoot so far, but I am in love.
Now I'm gonna have to shoot an extra scene for Norman just so I can use that lens.
For anyone who, for anyone who likes photography, this is the Sigma 50mm 1.4 art. Sigma has been totally kicking Canon and Nikon's butts in their prime lenses over the past year or so. And I absolutely love that thing. That's the only toy I've gotten. It's not really a toy though, because it does make money, but no, everything else is just, a lot of money came in this month. I'm not going to lie. Wedding season is a good time to be alive, but it's not as cool as it sounds because
Just take comfort, Jeremiah, in the fact that you will never catch up to Joel when it comes to electronics. So, you can try.
I thought you meant when all that Norman money hits. Joel's just going to be naked in his room. It's going to be completely full of money.
It'll be like 140 degrees in there. Like all you hear is fans going.
Speaking of being naked. Not that I am right now. I was just talking with John the other day that I was like, if I ever like trillions of dollars, I'm just gonna fight someone over. I'm gonna wear clothing out of money. Just
Joel, you're segueing into this conversation.
Speaking of being naked, I'm talking with John.
What did I... let's shut this train wreck down.
I wanted to know, like, what really got you motivated to buy a PS4, and when?
Well,
when do you think?
I kind of want to get a Potato 4 because I know there are games coming out I'm going to want to play. Like Bloodborne, I'm thinking about playing that a lot when it comes out. I'd like to play that with Mark and maybe you. I know there's going to be like the next Uncharted game I'm going to want to play. There are going to be games I know that I'm going to want the Potato for probably, yeah.
Wait, are you going to buy GTA on the PS4 and then buy it for the PC later?
We'll see. Well, see, here's the thing.
Oh, busted.
The birthday is coming up soon, and I would be buying it after my birthday. You got to get all that birthday money in, or any birthday money, who knows. But see if there's
Just saying, you could be doing some PS4 GTA 5 footage before Dave.
I'm not going to record on the PS4.
Why not?
Well, if I'm being honest, here's my main temptation to get a PS4. 100-inch screen. That's my temptation. Is sitting on the couch with my entire vision filled with glorious 1080p.
With alias GTA 5. Jeremiah, just imagine how
and
big
Red
those...
Dead 2 that you will never play.
Jeremiah, imagine all those Jaggies in GTA 5 at glorious wall-filling just amazingness.
Yeah, remember, and imagine all of us having fun without you, Dave.
That got me real quick.
I like hop on to TeamSpeak. Hello?
Joel, what do you use for a mic on your PlayStation? See, this is one of the things that like I'm really picky about is audio.
Well,
So-
Now's a bad time for that because no third parties hardly.
Well, the really nice PS4 one I've been debating on getting, but I mean, like, no one else has one just yet, so there's no reason for me to. Well, there's no reason for me to get it just yet. No one else has it, so I was just thinking I have TeamSpeak on my iPhone, so it's supposed to get an update pretty soon to support Bluetooth headsets.
Yeah, but you got to listen to game audio too.
Yeah, no. Well, the thing is, with
I haven't worked that one out yet.
this is so close, like the proximity. I don't have to turn the speakers up loud. It's not going to reverberate back and forth. Like John and I play Xbox with the Xbox headsets. I never hear his game ever.
Yeah, but I want good audio quality. I don't want it to sound like an Xbox headset.
Well, you're gonna have
It's
to
okay.
spend like $100 to get
Yeah.
maybe the official or
Yeah,
get
or just
one of the
use your headphones for TeamSpeak and stuff like that. I don't know.
Well, I know
It's-
supposedly
it's-
you
it's
can
not-
plug a
it's
regular
not-
set of headphones into the jack on the PS4, right?
yeah,
But then that doesn't take care of audio, but that gets me
I guess not.
sound.
Yeah, I mean, I was planning on getting one of those nice mics because the 7.1 that has like a special like setting for each game that comes out.
Mhm.
Like the really nice ones, like Last of Us. That's apparently it's just really really phenomenal sound for it. That I was gonna probably get one of those eventually once James finally has it, so we can play together.
Should we just turn the podcast over to talking film and photography?
I would love to do that sometime. Maybe we should make a big casual
chat
conversation.
is-
Y'all think I get nerdy about PC gaming? I can go for a long time on photography. I'll be way more unbearable on photography, but I do think we ought to wrap the podcast down. So I'll go ahead and start the outro. Wait, so if you want to follow us on Twitter, no, I'll do the terrible white guy rapping over it. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, here's what you do. Go to Twitter and type in JERMgaming, Evil Viking, or Casual Shenanigans. Alternatively, you can write into Casual Shenanigans at gmail.com to be a part of the show. Make sure to use that rage boner to hammer the like button on your way out today. Rate us in iTunes.
And then take that rage motor over to iTunes.
Give us all your savings on Patreon. And most of all, thank you for watching / subscribing / listening to us, because we appreciate it, even though this is technically the worst podcast we've ever done on a technical level.
Yeah, it probably is.
And I'm going to spend a while working on this, I'm sure. But thank you guys, everyone, for coming out. We do appreciate you guys, and we do have a lot of fun doing this, even when it doesn't go that smoothly. But yeah. Anyone?
Dat rap.
Does anyone have anything else to say on the way out?
Keep Joelin.
No, not Joel. No, he's saying like Limp Bizkit. Have you heard it? Keep rolling, 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 rolling. I keep rolling, rolling.
One.
So Jolin, Jolin, Jolin. It's like you've never watched The Fast and the Furious before or something.
I haven't yet.
What?
No,
Joel, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. No,
of it.
listen to me. The Saturday after Thanksgiving, 2 days afterwards, we are marathoning all 6 Fast and the Furious movies. Come watch them with us.
No, I would love to. That'd be so much fun.
Do it. I try to do a marathon every year.
It kind of sucks that they're not on Netflix. I was kind of hoping they would just show up on Netflix sometime, you know, and then just go right through them.
I'm not even joking. I will be getting the Blu-ray set when the 7th one comes out.
Well, if I
you guys
can't
do a
join you,
marathon,
can I
count
borrow
me in.
it?
All right. No, James,
Wait.
the marathon is 100% happening. It's definitely happening.
I have some NVIDIA news to close out the podcast, actually. Some leaked
Gosh,
news.
fine.
Is it leaked or is it like they're streaming now, aren't they?
This is not from official NVIDIA sources, but it's looking like this is a good source. And I'm pulling this from a thread over on r/build-a-pc. We have pricing for the 970. $329 to $349.
Really?
And the GTX 970 is 10% faster than the R9 290.
Well, for that money, I mean, if they're charging the same amount of money and it's a new generation, it needs to be faster. Most importantly,
it's expected, but that's
the same price as a 770. That's good.
Yep. And the GTX 980 is 15% faster than the R9 290X.
How much faster is it than the 780 and the 780 Ti?
Good question. I mean, this is not like overwhelming news, but the pricing looks pretty good.
I mean, it's not that amazing to say, yeah, it's faster than AMD's 1-year-old cards that are significantly cheaper. Like, ooh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if the 980 is like $450 or $500, that's pretty good. If it's $600 or $550, that's not that good.
No, not at all.
But we'll see. We will have more news for you when they come out, when Dave inevitably upgrades.
On a minor note, it makes me very happy that they stuck with the Titan style design. I really like that metallic look. It's good stuff.
They do make good looking reference cards. AMD's are still stuck in like 2004.
But then you get like the cool like half naked mermaid DL.
No, they don't. Not all that. It's mostly just the overall design is just hideous. But with that, everybody, that is officially the end of the podcast. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for joling with us. And as always, stay casual.